So check me out. I'm in my massart dorm, so I have this brand new, gorgeous, aesthetic set for you guys to look at now. Ooh, and actual decent lighting. Ooh. So this video is thanks to a YouTube comment I got on one of my previous videos, How to Be More Creative. So you can thank 7ply Joyride for this. He wrote, how can you find out what it is that you need to do / learn to take your art to the next level? In my situation, I feel that I'm only at about a 6 out of 10 in my art skills, with 10 being professional. I want to take my art to the next level, but I'm unsure of how to do that. So, the timing for this question could not be more perfect because I'm kind of struggling with this myself. Here's the thing, like with growth in art, everyone kind of has that point where you're like growing and growing and growing, you're just practicing and everything you're doing is definitely better than the last, and you're just like, you're in a groove, you know? You're just like in the slipstream of amazingness, and that's great, like you're riding this high for a while, and then at some point you reach a plateau and you're like, okay, I'm not like getting better, I'm not doing bad, I'm not getting worse, but I'm not doing better and I don't really know how. And you know, all that growth, all that progress, you keep like doing those same things and you're just not getting anywhere. So like, what do? So I kind of like meditated on this question and I was like, okay, when has that happened to me? When have I plateaued and what have I done to change that? And I found that there's kind of like two problems, or like problems that might cause this sort of plateau. The first one is something kind of simple, which is your techniques have just kind of become stagnant. When I was in high school, the main thing that I did for my illustrations was I sketched it, I inked it, I watercolored it, and it was done. I always used black ink, I used very similar color palettes, I used similar techniques. I mean, it was just the same process every single time. And I reached a point, I guess kind of like in this year sort of, where I was just like, I'm so fucking sick of doing this exact same process, and I feel like it's limiting me because the black lines just made everything very, very flat. Like I never got as much depth as I wanted, and it always made the colors look very harsh. It just wasn't very good for like mood and effect, and I wasn't happy with it anymore. So once I realized that my technique was slowing me down, I realized I had to change it, which led me to do a lot of mixed media sort of techniques. So now when you see my illustrations on, shout out, Instagram, Tumblr, and even Snapchat, I still use watercolor, and I still sometimes even use ink, but I rely so much more on colored lines and, you know, using different colors in the lines to kind of like emphasize things or make things stand out in the foreground and have things recede in the background a lot more. And it's helped so much. It's given so much more life to the paintings that I wasn't able to do before. So I had to kind of like take a step back, look at what I was physically doing, and then take it from there. So that might be one thing. It might just be your technique, and that means you're just gonna have to experiment a lot more. Like, look at how your technique is limiting you. And then the other way is the much harder way of getting yourself to improve. And that's when it's not so much the physical technique as it is yourself and your talent and your skill level with where you are. So something I find is, you know, when you reach a plateau, you're feeling pretty good about yourself because you've had like all these successes in the past and you've been growing a whole bunch and you're just really happy. But then when you're at this plateau, you're like, I'm not growing. You're still so caught up in your ego of like all those previous successes that you don't really know what's wrong, and you're thinking of everything else but yourself. So what you have to do is really critically look at all of your artwork, including the stuff that you love. Look at it and then compare it to real professionals in the field, the people who have like been in this industry like 20, 30, 50 years, you know, like who are really, really good. And you have to compare your stuff and be like, okay, what am I missing? What don't I have? What techniques am I lacking? What am I not doing that's making me not them in a way? Sometimes it might be a skill. Maybe your anatomy skills just aren't there. If you find yourself avoiding things, That's what you need to focus on right now, because that's what's going to like break you and get you to grow. So like if you are one of those people that you have a really hard time drawing hands and you just fucking hate hands, and you like maybe don't hide them in your artwork, but they don't come out super well and you don't emphasize them, then that might be something you need to work on. Maybe you know, your backgrounds are good, but they could be great. Maybe that's what you gotta focus on. Maybe you are having a little bit of issues with colors, and you know that you've got some favorite artists out there who have gorgeous color palettes, and you're like, I feel like mine could be better. You gotta look at your artwork and see what needs improving. And for some of you guys, this could be insanely hard. I'm not gonna lie, because some artists are very humble, and they're very good at looking at what they're doing and finding the mistakes and what they need to improve on. And not in a like very self-bashing kind of way. They just know what they need to do, right? They have kind of like a checklist in their head. Okay, I'm struggling with this, how can I get better? But then there's other artists out there who, they just don't see it. And it means that their artist eye, that kind of part of your brain or eye or whatever the hell you want to call it, that part of you that like can look at a piece and notice mistakes, isn't strong enough yet. If your eye isn't strong enough to see mistakes, you're not gonna feel like you need improvement. You're gonna be like totally happy with yourself. But if you aren't seeing mistakes, you're not going to improve, so you stagnate. And your artist eye can always see growth, but it might not see mistakes. So what you need to do is, if you're looking at your artwork and you're looking at other people's artwork and you're like, well, mine is just as good as them, then you need to call in a second opinion. You need to really critically listen to your teachers and your professors. If you're still in school, you need to really listen to what they're saying and really listen for the things that they keep mentioning. If they keep telling you you've got anatomy issues, then you got to work on that. If they keep bringing up that there's compositional problems, you got to work on that. So like, listen to the smart people. And then if you're not in school or you still want more opinions, ask a friend, ask a family member, ask someone who, you know, has eyes. Someone who can look at your work and just give you a straight up opinion and just be like, okay, look at this stuff. Like, what do you think is weird, or you think I need to improve on something? Even non-artists are really, really good at finding mistakes, because everyone kind of inherently knows what's good and what's bad. So your mom, for example, I mean, she might sugarcoat some things because she's your mom, but she'll still probably point out the fact that the hands don't quite look right. Or, you know, there just might be something awkward about this piece, and they might not be able to articulate what's wrong, but if they can just even lend you to figuring out, or just like kind of guide you to where you need to be, it's extremely helpful. So you gotta find out what's wrong first. And really, like, pick one thing, don't go too crazy, because if you have more than like one thing, then you start freaking out and hating yourself and you get really lost. But just pick one thing that you know you gotta work on, and then fucking work on it. You just gotta go, 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 because the more you work on it, the better you'll be in a quicker amount of time, and we all want to be really good really fast. So, you know, if you're bad at hands, draw 100 hands. If you're not good at backgrounds, sketch a ton of thumbnails, watch the tutorials. I've got a tutorial on backgrounds. Whatever it is, you gotta just practice the living shit out of it, because that's the only way you're gonna get good. And when you do practice it, don't do a half-ass, sloppy, stupid effort. Like, put in the effort. I'm not saying you have to be like perfect, like Leonardo da Vinci perfect every single time you practice, because that's gonna kill you. But you do need to like really, really try every single time, because if you put in like 110% effort every single time you do, let's say 100 hands, that multiplies a lot. That's what, 10,000 times effort? 10,000 times improvement? This math doesn't make any sense. But you see what I'm saying? Like, you gotta just keep working and striving for improvement, and you'll see results. You won't see it immediately. If the thing you're working on is kind of small, maybe you'll see a difference in a month. Maybe it'll take you a year, and maybe it might take you a really, really long time. But at some point, you're gonna get back in the flow of things, and you're gonna start seeing a lot of progress, and you're gonna be really, really excited because you have improved, and you know you've leveled up. And you, YouTube commenter person, you will go from a 6 to a 7 out of 10. Yeah, believe in yourself, go for that 7. So, yeah, and I mentioned at the beginning of this video that this is like perfect timing because lately, like a few weeks ago, I was starting to realize, you know, I think I've reached a point now where I'm really confident, like I'm comfortable in this technique that I'm doing. I kind of have this box that I've set up for myself, and you know, I'm pretty happy with where I am right now. But I definitely don't think I'm like really, really improving. I'm just kind of like in a good like zone, right? And then I see this YouTube comment and I'm like, yeah, I guess I kind of am stagnating. And then I started school. And then and then I had to face my biggest problem. One of my biggest weaknesses in art is digital art. I'm really bad at digital art. If I can push myself, I have pushed myself with it in the past. I know if I really, really, really devote the time, I can do it, but I don't know Photoshop worth a damn. And I'm not confident at all in my digital art skills. I don't think I'm good in the slightest. I think I'm remedial in digital art. And you know what? I'm in a class now. Oh my god. I had my first digital art class yesterday and man, it was like everything I've been avoiding just slapped me in the face repeatedly and I was like, oh my god. And I was really frustrated with myself. I was so upset and kind of angry, and I was, you know, really angry because I was like, well, if I was doing this in Paint Tool Sci, I'd be a lot better than this. But once I kind of got over like my rage and my ego, I looked back and I was like, no, dumbass, you really are bad at this and you need to improve. So now I'm, you know, I've got my tablet set up more. I have been practicing. I practiced already today. You know, I'm dealing with the settings. I was listening to like some YouTube tutorials. Like, I'm trying. So this is something that I'm working on. So if you're watching this video and you're thinking to yourself, oh god, you're right, I really need to improve in XYZ, just think, I'm also there with you trying really, really hard to improve. And it's a struggle and you hate it at first, but the more you do it, the better you'll get, and you'll be so relieved that you no longer have this horrible little anxiety demon sitting over your shoulder telling you you'll never be able to do this because you suck at it. Because that's how I was with digital art. Man, that I could never. Oh my god, it was so bad. But now I'm forced into it, so great. Anywho, I really hope this answers your question, and I really hope that this helps you improve. And I'm not just talking to you, the guy who wrote this message to me. I'm talking to everyone who's watching this video. I really hope that you guys improve. The school year has just started, and I think it's a really great time of year for anyone, if you're in school or not in school, to look at your art and be like, you know what, it's time. It's time for me to, you know, level up, get good. And I think you guys can do it. Now for the usual little chit chat at the end of the video, I want to say that you can always catch up me or see my artwork on Instagram, YouTube. Why did I say YouTube? Instagram, Tumblr, and Snapchat. It's Biana Bova for all of them. I always have links in the description, but you can always just find me on there. And if you have any questions for me, you can always leave a comment down below. That's totally fine. I have a list of things that I'm going to make videos of in the future, but I am always very receptive to people who have direct questions to me, and I will get to those first. So I know it took me a while to answer this question, but still. So yeah, if you have a question, if you have a concern or whatever, I will do my damnedest to answer it. And hopefully in a speedy manner. So yeah, please wish me luck, guys, with this class. I'm so scared. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I hope you're having an awesome day. So I'll see you next time. Bye, guys!